Leslie Wexner, this dude who is a self-proclaimed possessed by a demon.
What?
Yeah. Whitney has a whole chapter where she goes into this article that was done by a mainstream news source like 10, 20 years ago, where they're interviewing Leslie Wexner and asking him about how he came to power and what's his secret. It's called his Dybbuk, D-Y-B-U-K, and you can read about this on Wikipedia as well. And he describes in his own words that he's possessed by a Dybbuk, which is like a Yiddish word for a evil demon that drives him for more and more and more and more. This is in his own words.
Is he being hyperbolic? Is
A
he
little
joking
bit.
around? Like,
No.
oh, I'm possessed by a demon that just wants more and more. I just want to be successful.
No, I mean, I wasn't in the room, but I assume based upon the wording and how it's put, I assume
let's
it's like,
find it.
yeah,
We'll
it's like
find it. I want to read that.
It's like a billionaire. I mean, it's in the text. It's directly quoted in the text in One Nation Under Blackmail, actually, which is in that backpack.
One Nation Under Blackmail?
One Nation Under
Is that
Blackmail by
Whitney's
Whitney
book?
Webb. Highly recommend, but it's super dense. It's a hard read. I've read it 3 times now, and I still am taking notes and trying to look things up to understand it because she's just so researched. And it's things like this where she's gone back to the original article where they were interviewing him, and he's just like a CEO. So they're just asking him, what's your secret to success? And he's like, I'm possessed by I have a drive for more. And he chose the word Dybbuk, which is a Yiddish word.
So this is from New York Magazine interview.
That's
gave
exactly the
1985.
source.
He says, and now perhaps it's time to reintroduce Leslie Wexner's Dybbuk, the demon that always wakes up in the morning with Wexner and tweaks and pulls at him. When he was a boy, his father called it tummel, a churning. So he feels molten and unformed, pricked by these spiritual pins and needles. He met this demon again when he was 40 and already worth $500 million. When he climbed the mountain in front of the house in Vale and almost froze to death and decided to change his life. This demon he calls terminal
Shvilkis,
which makes him wander from house to house, repeating the pattern of his childhood on a luxurious scale, wanting more, swallowing companies larger than his own. It is precisely the reason that Wexner has $1 billion and doesn't stop at, say, $5 million and a new Mercedes every other year, and what he calls normal life. Bridge on Wednesdays and bar mitzvahs on Saturdays, and the Winding Hollow Country Club in Columbus, which is like Buckingham Palace to him when he was 15.
Yeah. So that's just to point out that, he's a fucking weird dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's a sketchy dude. He's running 2 sex trafficking rings out of his companies that he doesn't know anything about. And simultaneously, he founded, the Wexner Foundations and the Leslie Wexner Heritage Foundation. Those are also very interesting and controversial. They're very tied to Israel because he is one of the foremost Israeli philanthropists, despite being an American. But he founded what was called the Mega Group, which is essentially it was not disclosed for a long time. It was secret. And it is a group of Jewish billionaires that get together on behalf of global Judaism, which is not uncommon, and there's nothing wrong with that if they're not committing crimes. But they would get together and meet, and it's people like Leslie Wexner, Charles Bronfman. The list is, we could look it up. And that group, it is unclear if we have proof that they were conducting espionage, but there are all of them have ties to organized crime through various elements. Like the Bronfmans were rum runners, as one example, that were then involved in the mob. Leslie Wexner is involved in these trafficking rings, etc. And that group seems to have been directly associated with Jeffrey Epstein. And she's one that she shows all the primary sources and lays it all out. This is what we know, and this is where the source came from, and this is what it said, and these are possible explanations